The Florida Podcast Network, the voice of Florida.
This is Gerard with episode number 18 of Florida's Fresh Mix on the Florida Podcast Network, a random mix of Florida's freshest personalities listening.
Hello and welcome, Fresh Mix listeners. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you.
Hey, what's up? Happy Thanksgiving, gobble, gobble, gobble. Or in South Beach, it's happy keto or microbiotic or whatever.
Happy vegan giving.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, go ahead, Amber.
Guys, we are actually recording this the week before Thanksgiving. But if you're listening to this episode the day that it premieres, that means you have found yourself on Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. So you all probably have stuffed bellies and you're all probably still sleepy and or hungover. I don't know. But everyone celebrates differently, but
turkey comas all around.
Turkey comas, they're real. They're real. We haven't experienced those yet, but I'm sure, Gerard, that we will next week.
Oh, they're coming. They're coming.
Mm-hmm.
Without fail.
This episode is very special. We have Gerard, I don't know what I can really say about these guests. This intro is, I don't really have the words. I mean, they're just so amazing.
How are you going to describe these guests? It's
I don't know. I think they're the best people to ever live.
That's a little extreme, but all right.
Too far.
Too much.
A little too much. A little too narcissistic. We are the guests, guys. If that wasn't obvious.
I was like, okay, why don't you get to it before they get disappointed.
Yeah. Let's just be honest. It's just us. And we're just going to have a very lighthearted conversation about thankfulness and gratitude during this Thanksgiving season. And we'll also take a look back at some of our guests and how they were able to find silver linings in adversity throughout their professional and personal journeys. All right, Gerard, well, let's get started. You know what? Before we jump into the gratitude discussion, what are your Thanksgiving plans this year? And like we said, we haven't had Thanksgiving yet.
Well, let's see. I'm going to talk in the past tense because I'm trying to be creative. So let's go. I just had a wonderful half traditional American, half Haitian dinner at my mama's house with my family in Boynton Beach. And wow, it was delicious. Mommy, that food was so good. So anyway, I just wanted to say that. But no, so obviously that's my expectation because it's like that every year. This time I'll be taking my lovely girlfriend and this will be
fun.
It'll be her first Thanksgiving with the family, and she's bringing her son who's going to be in town. And so my family's going to get to meet him for the first time. And that's the plan. That plan never changes. Look, I got to go to where the best food is and the love is. That's my plan.
Yep.
But what's your plan?
My parents are going to Key West for Thanksgiving. They are like, peace out, children. Do your own thing, but it's all good. My boyfriend's parents are actually going on a cruise together.
Parents getting their groove on. All right. That's cool.
Yep, they are.
You probably don't want to think about that, but all right.
I don't. But thanks for bringing it up. So that means actually my boyfriend and I are going to go over to his aunt's place in West Palm Beach and have Thanksgiving there. And I've met his aunt and his uncle a couple times. They're great people. And then now I'm going to get to meet some of his cousins and little cousins. So it's going to be really fun. I don't really know what to expect in terms of food. They are Cuban, and I hope there's Cuban dishes. Oh yeah.
You're set.
I really hope they maybe go the traditional Cuban route. I'm not knocking down American Thanksgivings whatsoever, but I'm actually half Colombian, so I've always gotten a little Latin flavor on my Thanksgiving, so I'm kind of ready for that this year.
Come on. We know that a lot of Americans don't know how to properly cook a bird. It's dry. They don't got the right sauces and the seasoning.
They didn't marinate it the night before.
If you're from the Caribbean, we're like, all right, we're Americans now. We get it. All right, you got this Thanksgiving, but we're gonna take the turkey up a notch and really show y'all how to do it.
Oh, you have to. You have
then
to.
all of a sudden everyone wants to come to your house, So.
Yeah. Everyone wants your leftovers at work the next day.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's get into this. Let's talk about some of the guests that we've had on our show and how they've been able to find gratitude in the midst of their challenges and how they came out on the other side, what I would consider triumphantly. And I want to get started with Bles Chavez-Bernstein. If you've been listening to the show for a minute, you will know that Miss Bles is a blessing to the show. That was one of my all-time favorite interviews. No pun intended.
I was very heartened by or kind of taken aback by the fact that she knew what her passion was extremely young, which was to sing. And she just kept it dormant and became a nurse, which is obviously a very honorable thing to do. And she did that for decades. And then she suffered the death of her husband and many other things, and which you'll hear in, I think it was episode 7. And, the pandemic gave her the space and the time to write her book. And she's since explored her passion at a much more advanced age than when she was, I think she was less than 10 years old when she knew she wanted to sing. And she pursued it. And it was very inspirational. And I really recommend that anybody go back to episode 7 and check out all the details of her amazing story.
Kind of going back real quick to when she wrote her latest autobiography. It's called In the Typhoon's Eye. We will have a link to that in our show notes. Yeah, you said she wrote that during the pandemic. And that's just one example of, I guess, turning lemons into lemonade. I'm pretty sure we talked about that in the episode's opener.
Definitely.
So I would assume she was thankful for that time because she got to pour her heart out into written word.
She was stuck somewhere. She was sequestered, I think. Wasn't she sequestered in, what was it?
South Korea.
Yeah, South Korea. So she was in a very, not the best situation, but she, like you said, she made lemonade out of lemons. So, and then I also think about Patrick McNamara, who's the CEO of Palm Health Foundation. I think that was episode 15. Who had a tragic event happen in his personal life with his brother taking his life during college, and they were actually in school together. I mean, what a horrible experience, but the way that he turned that into a way to help others down the road, everybody wishes that had never happened, right? But had it not been for that, Patrick would not have pursued the path that he has. So I thought that was an example of, through tragedy, we can still be thankful for the good that comes out of it.
Absolutely. I mean, sometimes I feel like people have to go through the fire. And I think a lot of our guests, and I mean, everyone really at some point in their lives, they kind of have to go through the fire. There's a lot of great things that can come out of failures or challenges and trials that people can look back on and be proud of.
By going through the fire, you either come out of it broken or motivated. Mm-hmm. And we've seen examples of people going through the fire, and not every experience in these interviews that we've done is as extreme as Patrick McNamara's, with his brother. But mm-hmm. It's just, it could be, so many people we've talked to have been unhappy with their life from a professional perspective, or didn't feel that they were challenged enough, wanted to, kind of prove their, the outside world, whether it was their parents or, all the naysayers that, mm-hmm. They're wrong because I'm going to make a living doing this thing that I love. And when you say through the fire, I think that it can apply to a lot of different experiences for people. It's kind of just adversity. And we've talked to a lot of people that have overcome that, or they're in the process of overcoming it. And mm-hmm. and that's really inspirational to me. And I think that they should all be thankful for that. And I'm thankful for hearing those stories personally, because I find them very motivating.
I completely agree with you on that, Gerard. These stories have given me a lot of inspiration and like you said, motivation to know that sometimes adversity, it kind of builds character. I definitely wouldn't be who I am without the painful experiences that I've been through. And I think a lot of people can, resonate with that as well. And it just kind of, makes us who we are. It makes us human. So there's a lot of, great takeaways from these guests and their experiences. So Gerard, before we wrap this Thanksgiving episode up, I wanted to know, what are you thankful for?
Well, that's a very open-ended question, and I'm going to keep it quick. I'm thankful for so much. I've lived a very, very blessed life. It reminds me of when I used to have a Hotmail account. I don't know if anyone remembers Hotmail. I don't even know if it exists anymore, but I was in college and I had a Hotmail account. And I would get these random emails. And one of them was about, this teacher that was in a classroom, and then there was a jar, and then the teacher filled it up with golf balls, and she asked the students, "Is it full?" And they said yes. And then she took marbles and filled it in, and then she asked the students, "Is it full?" They said yes. And then she filled it up with sand and then water. So the big golf balls are the most important things in your life. This is your health, your family, and your friends. And I've got all the big golf balls. Okay. The money is like the marbles and whatever, but I've got all the big golf balls I always have. I've got wonderful parents that I would never trade for anything else in the world. I've got a beautiful, wonderful girlfriend who loves me sometimes more than I think I love myself. I've got amazing friends, longtime friends. I've got my nephew who inspires me every day, who I love tremendously, and I want to be his superhero. And I've got my sister, who's the producer of this show.
Yes.
I love you, Jaime. That was a joke. And you know it.
That was beautiful. And then
what about you? What are you thankful for?
Oh, well, how do I follow that up? I don't want to sound like I'm brown-nosing or anything like that, but I'm really thankful for this job. I really enjoy what I'm doing right now with podcasting, and I've never really shared how I got into this medium, and maybe I will one day, but it's been such a great experience. This is what I'm doing right now is exactly what I want to do for years and years to come, and just keep growing as a producer, however that looks. And, producer Jaime is a great mentor, and it's been a great year working for the Florida Podcast Network. And I'm excited for what's ahead, because we have lots and lots of cool things in the future planned for all of our listeners. But yeah, shout out to Jaime. Thanks for trusting me and giving me the opportunity. Seriously. It's not uncommon to work for people in creative spaces who micromanage, and that is not my experience whatsoever, and that's been really freeing, if you will. So I'm not trying to knock any of my other previous bosses down whatsoever. I've been blessed with great. I swear I've been pretty blessed with some great bosses, but in creative spaces, ideas clash and all that, but she's always been very open and receptive to anything I've thrown her way. And likewise, because I can definitely learn a lot from her and from everyone else I've been meeting on the team. So it's a great place to be.
Very happy to hear that. And I'm sure she'll be happy to hear that. And, I do my typical brother thing. I always just go back to terrorizing her when we were younger. But at the end of the day, she's my best friend. She's amazing at what she does. And what you just said really warms my heart. And I'm sure she'll appreciate it. She's really the best. And she's the one that brought me into the podcast game. And it's changed my life as well. And I will be forever in her debt for it. I love you, Jaime. All right. That's the only time you're going to ever hear it on this podcast until maybe 3 Thanksgivings from now. And thank you, Amber. I'm very thankful for Amber. She didn't know I was going to do this, but you're amazing. You're a testament to how wonderful my sister is at choosing amazing, amazing talent. You've made this entire process seamless and completely thoroughly enjoyable for me. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks, Gerard. I appreciate that. All right, guys. Well, that is all we have for you on this Thanksgiving episode of Florida's Fresh Mix podcast.
Everybody have a great Thanksgiving. Eat that turkey. And take a good nap, and just tell your loved ones how you feel. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
It matters. It matters.
It does. Do it, guys. Do it. Don't hold back.
Do it. For details and show notes about today's show and our guests, meaning Amber and myself, go to freshmixpodcast.com. I'd really love your feedback. Usually it's on our guests and my fresh take, but today, on this wonderful holiday, I'm going to give you guys license to give us feedback on ourselves. Give us all you got. The Florida Podcast Network has a closed Facebook group exclusively for superfans of their shows like Florida's Fresh Mix. So we all look forward to hanging out in there with you. Just search for FPN Insiders on Facebook to leave us comments, get early scoops, contests, and other special treats, or just to complain about Florida. Now, if you've listened to our past episodes, that should be pretty easy, but we're here to give thanks. And for once, I want to thank Florida for one thing in particular: the sun. I love the sun. I love having it pour through my window as I work from home. I love to go outside every single day. I love to go running. I love to go to the beach. I love to do anything outside. So thank you, Florida, just for that on this Thanksgiving holiday. And be sure to visit all the great shows on the Florida Podcast Network. You can find them at floridapodcastnetwork.com. Keep catching Who's Fresh in the Florida Mix with Florida's Fresh Mix podcast.
Flintstone Media has been the digital messaging bedrock of several brands and businesses, serving as a highly resourceful podcast production house and consultancy firm for over 6 years. Visit flintstonemedia.com for podcast samples. From show development and setup through recording and distribution, work with a leader in the industry and add a new podcast to your brand's content offerings. That's flintstonemedia.com.